And this is Stephen in Wiltshire in England. The sun has been shining all day and all is well with the world. So welcome to the show. We're going to cover several topics today, and if you're watching the replay, you'll learn all about Feedback Friday, the Facebook Watch Party, and St. Patrick's Day Frames, and BLIFbot. So say hello to Corinda and hello to Bill. And we will be talking about BLIFbots. I'm just waiting for Bridgetti to join me because it's Friday and it's Steven and Bridgetti in discussion, and we can't have a discussion unless we have a Bridgetti. So I spoke to her a moment ago. I know that we're live. I know that we're shared out. So that is good. So my reply to Bill is hello, Bill. Certainly we'll be covering BLIFbot in a very short while. Now, if you've not noticed it, there is a scrolling call to action. Oh, it's getting better and better. They're improving it. It's now behaving itself. Before it used to just fly past so fast, and now it just gently scrolls, so we've got time to read it. So hello to everybody who's watching. If you want to make a comment, I shall feature it on the show, be on the recording. It will go using repurposed.io to YouTube. It'll go from YouTube to SoundCloud, and you'll follow the path all the way. Now it is Friday. It's 4 p.m. here in the UK. It's 6 p.m. in Cape Town, and we're joining the UK with Cape Town today. If you want to join us on camera today, then all you need to do is type guest to join us on camera. And I've got a question from Corinda. Do you want to talk about a horse race today? I'm going to say what horse race? Yeah, I'm presuming it's the Gold Cup. Okay. No, I'm in two minds about that. And I'm saying welcome to the show again. And this time, 3, 2, 1. Hello, Bridgetti.
Hello, Stephen. How are you today?
I'm fine, thank you. We've seen each other before, haven't we? Earlier, I'm sure we did.
We have.
All good. We had to decide whether we went live today at 5 p.m. in the UK and 7 p.m. in South Africa, or we stuck with the 12 p.m. Eastern, because our clocks haven't changed yet. Our clocks have not changed.
Oh, your clock hasn't changed yet.
No, we don't change until a week on Sunday, 25th.
Okay, so it's only the US clocks that have gone back.
Yep, they're ahead of everybody or behind everybody, depending on which way you look at it.
Okay.
So yeah, and
well, we're the lucky ones. We don't have daylight saving.
Wow, so it's consistent throughout the year.
It's consistent throughout the year. I must say though that our neighboring country, Namibia, they have daylight saving, and they are a mere 2 hours away from us, which is the same distance as some of the other countries, cities within South Africa. So they're only just 2 hours away, but they have daylight saving, and that's basically to help the children who have to get up very early in the morning and go to school in winter. So that's why they've decided to do that, because a lot of the children have to walk to school. Indeed, and it does make a difference. The hour difference, it makes it a lot easier to walk to school when it's actually light. Right, we have a comment from Bill, who's watching us, and he says, I love Bridgetti's passion in fighting a good fight for water. Thank you, Bill. I try. All right. And is there a conference coming up on that topic? It is it's World Water Week, and that's something that is celebrated all over the world, not only in South Africa. So, of course, we're joining in, and this year it has a lot more significance for us because of the drought, and I think even moving forward, it will continue to have a lot of significance. So there is an entire week filled with events around Water Week. And I think, we're kind of making it'll be an entire month of activity.
Oh, right. So it's a big thing, a big event.
It is the big event. I mean, we started something going around all the schools. We won't reach every single schools, but the goal is to reach as many schools as possible to encourage the children, because we feel, children is such an important aspect of any kind of change that you want to make. Because if you can impact the children will go home. It's us adults who have a much, much harder time adapting to change. Of coming home very sweetly. I don't know if you remember from school days, that whole thing about the teacher is always right. And no matter what mummy and daddy says, the teacher is right.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that was drilled
so
into us.
Start with the little one. Yeah, if you can inculcate good water-wise habits with the young ones, you've won half the battle, because they're very good influences. You want something done, boy, get the message to the little ones, and they are great messengers.
And of course, if they're talking about it, then they're learning about it, and it will go with them through their lives.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely.
Okay. Right. Okay. Now to things Be Live. Today is officially Feedback Friday. And if you broadcast on BLIFbot.tv, you can, there's a post in the group, in the Belivers group, you can put up your show for review. And the review is by members of Belivers and by the admins and moderators and by the show hosts. And it is an opportunity to get feedback, positive feedback. We all know Belivers is a community of positive folk who help each other and support each other. So there's nobody going to tear
positivity rules.
It does in our universe. So I put the post up there today, and within 5 minutes of posting it, Tom had put his show up for review, and it's a very good show. And I just suggested a tweak to it. So which would improve it, it wouldn't improve his presentation, but it might improve the people actually watching the show or catching the show for the first time. And that was just to put, as we're doing here today, was to use the agenda to feature it on screen so that people know what you're talking about. And that's especially because his show was in the German language, and therefore he had a choice. He could, in actual fact, put the title across the bottom, both English and German, and that would be good.
Well, you know what happened to me last night? I had no idea about the outage that happened with Be Live,
Right.
And I was in the middle of a broadcast, and all I know is that I got kicked out of my broadcast, and I couldn't understand why. I thought it was my internet that had gone down, yeah. And it happened twice. And fortunately, the person I was broadcasting with was a friend, and the other one was another live streamer.
Okay.
And they carried on chatting amongst each other.
Right.
And I struggled to come back both times, but during the time that I was able to not come on, I could send them a message and said, look, I'm having trouble getting back in. So the show continued. I just let them know I'm having trouble getting back in. Just keep talking, and as soon as I can, I'll come back in again. And the great thing is that the broadcast continued. It didn't end. And with experience, one of the things you learn is not to stress when something goes wrong. Accept that technology can go wrong. And the biggest part is to learn not to panic, because if you don't panic, you will realize there's certain things you can try, and and you can get it back up again.
True. Don't panic is a good maxim to stand by, and be patient as well, and a sense of humor. But I mean, the thing is, as you said, the show continued without the host, which is a brilliant situation to be in. And I mean, occasionally we know that this technology is so complicated that occasionally things will go wrong. And what happened last night was a rare occasion when, well, it is fortunately a rare occasion. I mean,
it is very, very rare. That is the truth. It is very rare.
Yeah, because this has become, we know, well, we've forgotten the problems. We know that we're happily broadcasting now, and all the problems just disappear when you're able to live broadcast again. Right, okay. Now, as I was preparing for the show, Bill asked a question about BLIFbot, which is our messenger bot on BLive in 5. The BLIF does stand for BLive in 5, but add bot on the end and it becomes, well, BLIFbot. And we run 2 bots on any given show, and they're done using ManyChat. And ManyChat allows you for free to create messenger bots which will perform tasks that you decide on. Now, talking to RJ in the BLIVers group every Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern, RJ and I, we decided that this is technology which should be used by all live streamers. So in a series of shows in BLIVers every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Eastern, we'll be talking about bots. But we've got 2 bots that actually work on every show that we do. One is the guest bot, and if you type, I'm going to use this call to action thing again. If you type guest, you can join us in the show. Now, the first time that I set that up to actually run took me about half an hour because I didn't know what I was doing, basically. But now I can get that running on any show in about 2 to 3 minutes. So the instructions on how to do it, and thank you for this, Bill. The instructions on how to do it are in, well, I'm going to put it up at the bottom of the screen, the complete BLive TV Facebook Live course. And that, excuse me a moment, Bridgetti, that has been completely updated now. I'm just going to take it full screen. I've completely updated the course. It contains everything you need to go live on BLive.tv. I know I'm talking to the converted, but it is solo interview, talk show, pre-show, during the show, post-show. All the programs you can use to enhance the show are all included with practical tips on BLive.tv. So that's the advert. I'll take that back down because I rarely do adverts. But if you want to know how to create a guest bot, then that is actually, it's in the group. I think if you type guest bot, you should find it's in the group, and post a link to the course. I will, Bill. I will post a link to the course. I promise. Right. Thank you for that. Well, yes. In fact, I'll scurry off and get. No, I won't. We'll take a few comments first and say hello to John. Welcome, John, and hello to Mohammed. Hi, Steven and Bridgetti. Thank you for sharing tips and strategies on live broadcasting. Well, I've got to be honest here, we both enjoy this, don't we? Quite a bit.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun.
And we've been broadcasting together for a number of weeks now. We never run out of things to talk about. And you're more than welcome to join us on screen at any time. Just type guest in the comments. And Gail is joining us. I know Gail is in BLIVers group too. So welcome, Gail. And it's nice to see everybody following us. And it's good that you make comments, because one of the things you should know about comments is not only do they feature in the live broadcast, they also feature in the replay as well, and together with your name and photograph. And
yes,
another thing as well, just so you know, is that after the show we can actually have a chat with you. So this, I mean, when we do this show is 1 hour every 7 days, and what we like to do is to actually talk to people in between the shows, because that keeps things ticking over and gets a conversation going. So if you've any questions about live broadcasting, you can ask them now, or you can ask them when we contact you after the show over the weekend, because this is a 7-day a week. It's not a sort of 1 hour show and that's it, is it?
No, you know, if I see Gail is new to live streaming, basically when you do any kind of live stream, there is some planning involved. And generally, depending on, you know, if you're a first time live streamer or if it's a big broadcast, your planning can take up to a day because you've got to plan what you're going to do, who you're going to do it with, get information on your guests. You've got to plan how you're going to do, you know, what your marketing strategy is for it, produce marketing material for it, set it up on Facebook, check in with your guests, make sure that they understand how the live streaming process works, set up a test with them beforehand. And all of that takes a lot of time. And it's all of those processes you don't want to rush, especially if you're new. And even for those of us who are experienced live streamers, there's certain checks and balances that just take time to do. You can't rush it. The last thing you want to do is to start a broadcast and think, oh no, I've forgotten this, or oh no, I've forgotten that. And hello, Marco, for joining us. So you want to make sure that you give yourself sufficient time so that by the time your broadcast starts, you're not feeling flustered. Because believe me, if you don't come across as calm and as in control, by the time you're broadcasting, you are going to stress out your guests. Your guests are going to sense that you're not calm and you're not in control. And for a lot of people who are guests on your broadcasts or your live streams, for them it's very unnerving because they don't do this every day. It's a scary experience. So you want to make sure that when you hit the go live button, you are completely, totally relaxed so that you can give your guests that kind of confidence to know that whatever happens, you're in control. You will handle things, because nobody wants to be on somebody's live stream and feel or look like an idiot. You want to make them shine. You want to allow your guests to feel at ease and confident that whatever the aim is with that broadcast, you will achieve it and be successful at it.
Wise words. And it takes time to do that. You're not going to get it right first time, but if you think on it, then all will come good. I just want to pick up on a couple of comments, because guests, well, I mean, we're co-hosts there, but when you have a guest on the show, people generally come to see the guest, don't they?
Right. So, and you want to be prepared. You know, you want to know stuff about your guest. You want to know your guest's background. You want to have a great introduction. Your audience will know whether or not you are familiar with your guest, and that'll up the quality of your broadcast.
Truly, and that's where the agenda comes in, because before the show you can do research and you can actually put the autobiography and the main details in the agenda, so you can refer to them during the show.
Let's see what Gail says. She says, I have a Facebook business page. I do Facebook Lives from my business page on a regular basis. I'm looking for a platform to post my website and phone number so people can purchase services. I'm not quite sure I understand what exactly you're looking for, Gail.
Well, it's a way. I don't know. Oh, just a moment. Thank you, Bill. Much appreciated. Thank you for that.
Fantastic.
Brilliant. Now, yeah, to Gail's question. Right. Okay. Marketing, and the traditional way to do it is to attract people to your webpage, get your email address, and then get them into your email list, and then send them out emails on a regular basis suggesting that they buy.
But if I'm reading her statement or question correctly, she's wanting to draw attention to do that by using your live streams and having a call to action. Your call to action could be to direct people to your website, and your call to action can be to give people your phone number. I mean, we've got that great scrolling call to action now, which is fantastic. People can't miss that.
No,
and there is something. The something you need to know about the call to action, the scrolling call to action, is that if you put in a lot of text, it's going to scroll very, very fast. So if it's something you want the audience to catch, like your website, for example, especially if it's got a long name, you don't want to combine the website address and the phone number, especially if it's a long one. If it's a short URL, I would go with the URL and the phone number. But if it's a long URL and you want to make sure people get that, then only put the URL in your call to action.
Indeed. I'm trying to keep up track with everything. Okay, so Marco's saying, going back, if you're the Kickstarter, the host, you should start with confidence. I try to do so each time I have a guest. The last 1.5 months, I had 11 guests. Well, there you are. And basically, that's it. I mean, if you do a lot of these shows, then the confidence comes, doesn't it? The more you do, the more confident you are, and the better start you make to the show. And we know the start of the show is important.
Yes, it absolutely does come with practice. Don't give up. I will never forget, as long as I live, and I don't want to forget what it felt like the very first couple of times I went live. I would sit there and stare at the camera and feel awkward and like, I can't do this. I can't do this. And eventually I realized this is mind over matter. Just push the go live button and start talking. And I fumbled a lot in the beginning. I really, really did. But know that that is normal. And the more you go live, the more confident you'll become. And people will pick that up in your voice, because as you progress in your live stream journey, you will lose that. I think initially you have kind of a little bit of a high-pitched tone because you're not sure of yourself, a panic tone. Your throat can close up a bit. It's normal. But the more you live stream, the more you'll come into your own, and you'll find yourself and you'll start getting comfortable. Because let's face it, when you first, you're not used to seeing yourself. That's weird. In the beginning, it's just weird because you don't look at yourself usually. You don't go around spending your day looking at yourself in a mirror.
No.
So when you first have to look at yourself all the time when you're live streaming, it feels awkward. It feels odd. It feels strange. It feels bizarre. And you don't listen to your voice all day long. You hear other people's voices. So you also have to get used to listening to the sound of your voice. So whatever you're feeling in the beginning, it's perfectly normal, and it gets better. That's the good news.
It does. I mean, it improves with time and practice. And I just want to say congratulations to Marco on doing all those shows. And I wish you every success in the future, my friend. And I think there's another point here that Marco's making, and that's authenticity comes with experience. By now, I feel fish on water. There you are. And that's it.
And that's true. That's absolutely true. And, the one thing you learn about live streaming is that people can sense who you are. And if you're not your true self, there was something, I think it was, goodness me, how can I forget his name now?
It's okay. I forget things all the time. I forget things all the time. It's sort of, We live streamers.
I'm having a blonde moment. But anyway, basically what he was saying is that when people meet you in real life, they mustn't be shocked. They mustn't meet a different person. When they meet you in real life, they have to connect with you on the same level that they're connecting with you in a live stream. And if people feel that way, it means you've arrived and your authenticity has won the day.
What you can't do on live video is put up a 5-year-old picture of yourself like you do on Facebook, because it just doesn't work. I mean, if you visit people's profiles, most people have a profile picture which is up to date, and when you meet them, you can recognize them from their actual photo. But sometimes, not too often, but sometimes you actually meet somebody in real life and you say to yourself, well, who are you? You're not, because that picture is, and you can't do that on live video. You have to be yourself, and you've got to be your authentic self as of today. So there's no hiding place. But once you get used to it, and once you get comfortable, and one of the great things about this is meeting and connecting with people, and that's how Bridgetti and I connected through the medium of live video, and we become friends. And that's the magic of this live video, is that you start off as strangers, you appear in each other's shows, and then you start doing a show together, and everything falls into place over a period of time. And the thing is that you don't have to work hard. You just genuinely got to be yourself.
Just be yourself.
Right. And just going on, in other news this week has been the arrival of Facebook Watch Party, and I would love this to work. I've got to be honest. I would love this to work, because I've been in several of them now, and we've been in watch parties together. And the brilliant thing is that you can listen and watch the video while talking to somebody about something totally different. And if anything comes up in the video, like I was chatting with Adair this morning, and she was watching the video. Oh, this was funny. I was watching with Adair this morning. I popped out for 10 minutes. And whilst I was away, and when I came back, a message from Adair saying Jeff just said such and such, and his guests don't seem to understand it. And of course, my immediate reaction was, well, what did Jeff say? So I rewound it by 10 minutes. I listened to the 10 minutes that were relevant. And when Adair came back in, she said, have you just rewound it? I thought, oh no, you can't do that on a watch party. You've got to think that you're not the only one in the room. So we're learning all the time. What we did learn this week is that you cannot or should not put a scheduled video which has not yet started into watch party. If you put a scheduled show in, say there's one starting in 4 hours time, then for the next 4 hours the watch party would just go, I've nothing to show anybody, I'm going to sort of hide away, and as soon as the show goes live in 4 hours time, it comes back again. So beware, don't put a scheduled video in there. But it is great to actually just watch videos, isn't it?
Yes, it is. I haven't really had time to play with it much myself, but I do want to, because there's great value in the watch parties, because especially if you're teaching something or the group wants to learn something, you have an opportunity to add extra value while you're watching it together, as opposed to watching it by yourself, because you're getting the contribution of other people while in the Facebook watch party.
Yep.
So is there anyone in the audience that has tried it yet? Anyone that's watching, have you tried it yet?
We'd welcome your comments, and you can ask us any questions you like, because it's Friday, it's the weekend. Bridgetti and I, after this broadcast, it's the weekend, so we're all good and we're chilled and we're ready to take the weekend off. I was speaking to
We're totally chilled.
Yeah, totally chilled. Talking of not being chilled, I'm with Anne-Marie on a show at 7 p.m. in the UK tonight, 2 p.m. Eastern, and I'm guesting on that show. And Anne-Marie's let it slip that she's doing a triathlon.
Oh, wow.
All right, okay, but it's a beginner's triathlon, and it's 8 lengths of the swimming pool, 13 kilometers by bike, and then a 3-kilometer run. Now, even that is quite taxing. So I wish her all the success. I'm looking forward to talking about that later today. Now,
Absolutely. When is she doing it this weekend?
she's in training at the moment. I think she's in early training.
Okay.
We'll keep tabs on that and support her. She's supporting a local charity, so it'd be good to keep in the know on that one. Now, we are aware, thanks to our friend Corinda, that tomorrow is St. Patrick's Day. Around the world, for everybody who is Irish or of Irish descent, it's a day of celebration. And to help with those celebrations, although we can't show you them now, there will be St. Patrick's Day frames on BLIFbot.tv. So if you want to do an Irish themed show tomorrow, then you have the frame to do it with, several frames, and they will be available at the start of the day tomorrow. So I might just do an Irish show for 5 minutes, you know. But generally speaking, I try to take the weekend off from broadcasting because otherwise, you know. Yeah. We've got
family time.
Indeed. Do you have shows over the weekend, Bridgetti?
I have now started a broadcast on a Saturday evening. Two of them, but they're very short. They both between, on average, about 15 to 20 minutes. So we do them back to back. Right. Basically, they are videos that we use to repurpose. Okay. So we can cut them up. We put them on Facebook as is, but they've got nuggets in them that we can chop them up and put short little videos onto LinkedIn. So that was one of the aims, and that's why we keep it short. And then on a Sunday evening at 8:15 is usually reserved for a water broadcast. I don't do that every Sunday, but it's great when I have guests that I can't get any other time of the week. And it's also prime time on a Sunday evening for people because it's after a very well-known broadcast called Carte Blanche here. So it's a time when people are relaxed and they're available to watch. So generally you'd get a very good audience on a Sunday evening. But I don't do broadcasts during the day. No, I sleep on the weekends.
Well, I think you need to relax at weekends, don't you? Irrespective, it's just a good time to chill. And we say hello to RJ. See, this is because you can see that RJ's like the show, love the show. Thank you, RJ. And if you've joined us recently, you are watching Bridgetti and Steven in discussion. We're celebrating the fact that it's weekend and getting in the mood to chill this weekend. And we say hello to Corinda. Welcome, Corinda. And
hi, Corinda.
I hope you haven't lost any more money today on the races at Cheltenham. It's the Cheltenham Racing Festival. It's the Gold Cup today, which is one of our premier races. Oh
dear.
Oh, Corinda. Oh dear. Right. Okay. Let's. Yes. Horse racing. There's only one race in the UK that I take any great deal of interest in. That's the Grand National, because it takes place in Liverpool, the entry. And for the first years of my life, I lived in Burnley, which is north of Manchester in England, and it's only about 40 minutes away from Liverpool on a good day. And I've been past Entry Racecourse many a time. I haven't been in, but I know where it is. And I've seen it on television. And on a Saturday afternoon, probably a week on Saturday, the UK will sit down to actually watch the one race in the There are two races which are known to actually stop the traffic. And there's the Melbourne Cup, which of course is in Melbourne in Australia, and then there's the Grand National in the UK. And I think they both get worldwide viewing audiences. And Corinda's saying that the Might Bite was good, and we say hello to Andrea. Thank you for joining us.
Yes, hello, Andrea. Welcome.
I mean, the fascinating thing is that there's always something going on that you can talk about. And we love the fact that people pop in to our show and bring up topics. If you've got anything that you'd like to talk about, or you'd like to ask about, or you want us to promote, we're quite happy to promote. We're going out to the business page. So if you want to promote your show, just put a link in and we'll mention it now. If you want to join us live on air, then all you need to do is to type guest to join us on camera. Yeah, I know that, Corinda, I know that was the name of the horse. Doe. Right, okay. So you're welcome to actually type guest and join us on camera. And yeah, okay.
I do want to mention, a while ago we saw that the Never Settle show received 2 Emmy nominations, and they have now actually received the official invitation to attend the Emmys. So that is still groundbreaking news for anyone that's in live streaming. It's the very first nomination for a live stream show to receive an Emmy nomination, and that's big news. You know, it's big news because it means that live streaming would be recognized by mainstream media. So that really is good news. I'm very happy for them, very thrilled. Obviously, they've put in a lot more than people generally would put into a live stream, but it's doable. You know, it really is. So that's a great acknowledgement.
It shows the potential of live streaming and where it can lead. And I've seen a couple of services recently where the live stream can actually go onto television. Now, I know that Corinda sometimes watches on his TV, on his Apple TV, but you can, through a couple of services, Raven mentioned one and Carlos mentioned another, which he's working on, where your show will be able to go out to Roku and places like that, and you can actually appear on a television anywhere around the world. Does that appeal at all?
Absolutely. I mean, would you ever have imagined that just a year ago? It's amazing. Live streaming has grown in leaps and bounds. You know, obviously, Facebook Watch is only available in the US at the moment, but I'm sure at some point that will roll out to other countries as well. And that just shows, you know, the direction live streaming is going into. So, you know, get out there, broadcast regularly. And just another tip, if you're starting out in live streaming, instead of planning, if you really, really new, instead of planning plan 5 1-minute broadcasts. If that's all you can do in the beginning, get more mileage out of your airtime. So start slowly. Don't plan an hour-long broadcast. You will not do that in the beginning. It's not achievable. Start out with simply going live for 2 or 3 minutes. Plan your material, know what you're going to say, and have a call to action. When you start out, tell people what you're going to be talking about so you can grab their attention straight away. Then dive into your material, have a call to action, and end your broadcast. Do little ones like that, baby steps. And before you know it, you'll be progressing to 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and before you know it, you'll be doing what we're doing. Very often we don't realize that an hour has passed.
Oh, true.
And there's been the very odd occasion where we kind of go 5 or 10 minutes over. We try not to do that because, you know, an hour is really kind of the maximum time we want to be doing a live stream, because we also want to respect people's times. But that gives you an indication of how quickly you can progress from doing just a 2-3 minute broadcast right up to an hour.
Yeah, and just to catch up on the comments for a moment, Andrew's saying she would find it hard to squeeze all of her teachings into 30 minutes. Well, okay. Well, the thing about it is when you, I'll show it again. When you're starting off, as Bridgetti said, plan the show so you know what you're going to talk about. Because the worst thing that can happen to you is having a few moments or a few seconds of silence which are noticeable. And if you plan, those will get less and less. If you pick a topic, pick talking points, go through the talking points, and just gradually build up your confidence. And you can practice. You don't have to go live to a worldwide audience. You can practice in a private group on Facebook, just you and a friend, and get used to being on camera, and your friend, because they are a friend, will give you critical appreciation of what you're doing and help you. And that's the beauty of live streaming. Everybody wants to get involved. And Corinda's saying me too, Andrea. So yes. And okay. And Corinda's given me a call to action. And the most favored call to action is this. I got the right speed now. Please share the show. If you're enjoying this broadcast, there are 3 favors you can do to any show that you're enjoying, and it's not just our show. One is to comment. Comments are valuable. The more comments that there are on a show, Facebook looks at it and thinks, oh, that's a good show. And they measure the comments. Comments count more than views. So if you like a show, please comment as many times as you wish, and that will help the show. The second thing you can do is to like the show, because that shows us that we're doing something which you enjoy, and well, we'll carry on doing it. And the other thing you can do, if you'd be so kind, is if you'd like your friends to see this show, myself and Bridgetti, just share it, because that reaches a wider audience too. Now, when we go and watch shows, and we don't always catch people live, the first thing we do is type #replay in the comments to show that we're actually watching the replay, and we share the show. Now, obviously, we can't share every show, but we share quite a lot of shows, and it simply works, doesn't it? I mean, if you're enjoying somebody's show, sharing is the greatest compliment you can pay.
Absolutely. I mean, if I'm enjoying a broadcast, I would want to share that with other people, because if there was value for me, there likely is value in it for many more others. And yes, why not share?
Indeed. And to everybody who has shared the show, thank you. To everybody who's commented, thank you. And for all your comments and questions, absolutely brilliant. Now, where to go next? We've mentioned St. Patrick's Day. The frames are available tomorrow. We've mentioned Watch Party, and there are 2 watch parties going on in BLIFbot at the moment, which you're more than welcome to join in. And you can comment about the video that's playing, or you can chat with people there. And along the bottom left-hand corner, you can actually see who's watching with you, and you can say hello. And what we've found is that people say hello to each other for the first time inside a watch party. It's a great place to connect with people, because the thing about you should know about a watch party is that whilst it's live, only people inside the watch party can see your comments. And Facebook have decided that once the watch party ends, the whole thing disappears. So 2 things to be aware of, and we look forward to more watch parties and to more groups actually having them. And don't forget,
it's great team building. You know, if you want to get closer to your community, have a watch party with them, because it's team building. And you can share valuable comments, you know, especially if I don't know about you, Stephen, but when you're in a broadcast, when you are broadcasting yourself and you have a guest, and you're also producing the broadcast, it's a lot to do at one time. And I very often like to go back to watch my live streams again to make sure I haven't missed an important bullet point. Because when I repurpose that broadcast, I want to use those little nuggets. So imagine if you're going back and instead of watching it by yourself, you're watching it with someone else. You can not only pick up gems yourself, but other people may pick up on something that you may have missed. So there's lots of value in watch parties.
Totally agree. And as to watching back videos, I agree with that too, because when you're actually on the show, I mean, I'm concentrating on listening to you and watching the comments and putting things up on the screen. And with you and I, we've got a thing going where we do pay attention to everything. But when you've got a guest on and you want to do the best for that guest, you may be distracted for a moment whilst you're actually doing something. And it's good to play it back afterwards, because if you've got somebody on your show who's got a certain level of expertise and you want to learn, then playing back the show afterwards is a great thing to do. I mean, I do that certainly when I get a show with RJ. I always play those back because it's just great to listen to. So yes. Right. Okay. So now this weekend, incredibly, in the UK, we're heading towards Easter rapidly, but we've got snow this weekend, and we're not sure where it's going to fall. Some more snow. Second snow of the winter. I mean, in Wiltshire, we sort of we don't get much snow in Wiltshire, but in the Midlands, up in Birmingham and up in Manchester and Scotland, there's going to be some more snow. And the last snow that we had, even down sort of Wiltshire way, there were drifts 9 and 10 foot deep, because what happens is the wind blows the snow over the fields and into the road, and the road has got a wall on one side of the road, and the snow just starts to bank against the wall because it can't go any further, and the drifts build up, and eventually the road gets blocked. And that's especially true of Derbyshire. So I'm just hoping everybody stays safe this weekend. Some parts of the UK got snow now, and some will have it over the weekend. So just stay safe, everybody. Now, talking about staying safe, which we all should do, the 3rd of April is Don't Stream and Drive Day. Now, this was an initiative started by Neil Jewson-Smith, who is Sergeant TCS, as we know him on Twitter. And Neil started the campaign 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, John Upton and I, hosted on, I think it was on Blab, we hosted the first ever Don't Stream and Drive Day on Blab. And we did 3 shows during the day, and we promoted the message of Don't Stream and Drive, which is very simple and straightforward. You should not be using your phone while driving, and you certainly shouldn't be doing a live video broadcast while you're driving. So this is about Don't Stream and Drive.
There's still too many people who do that. There's still too many people who do that. You know, it's distracted driving, and it's dangerous because when you're live streaming, it's impossible to be talking and having your mind on a subject and people who are listening to you, and goodness knows, don't even try and read comments. You know, it is so dangerous. It's on par with trying to use your mobile while you are driving. It is really dangerous. Just simply don't do it. Distracted driving kills. There's no way that you can concentrate on a subject matter, on a conversation with people who are watching you live and driving, please do not do it. It's not advised. In some states, in some countries, it's illegal to do so. Nothing but nothing is worth your life or putting other people's lives at risk. That's basically what you're doing. Not only your own life, but you're putting other people's lives at risk.
Very, very true. And will you join us on April 3rd? We'll be broadcasting 3 times during the day.
I will.
Brilliant.
I will. Brilliant. Yes.
Excellent. And if anybody watching can join us as well and comment and generally help to get the message out. Now, there is a thunderclap going at the moment. And if you don't know what thunderclap is, where have you been? But a thunderclap is basically at 12 p.m. on the 3rd of April, hundreds of people have got together on the thunderclap page for Don't Stream and Drive. And that page will be sending out thousands of tweets and hundreds of Facebook posts at 12 o'clock and spreading the message of Don't Stream and Drive. If you want to help, over the weekend, I'll put details on the BLIVE in 5 page of how you can get involved. And as we just heard, Bridgetti and I will be live. I'll be live 3 times during the day, and Bridgetti will be joining us in one of the shows, and we'll be joined by Mr. John Upton, and of course, Sergeant TCS, Neil, will be there himself, and we're going to hopefully have friends along too, and other members. This is backed by a lot of the British police forces and the driving organisations, and hopefully they will join in on the day too. And it is becoming a bigger and bigger campaign. As Bridgetti said, it's distracted driving at its worst. So don't stream and drive. We've seen people do it. We still see people do it. And we know that the people who actually watch the shows on the day are not the ones that are actually doing the dastardly deed. But if they can then persuade their friends who do stream and drive not to stream and drive, then it's job done. And if the shows save one accident, then it's a good job done. Now, this is not just a UK situation. Neil will be joined by his colleagues from police forces in the USA, and he will be talking about how you should behave on the road. He himself has been in the police force for over 20 years, and he's a great guy, and he knows social media. A policeman on social media, which is in the UK, is the exception, not the rule. So we look forward to chatting to Neil on the day. Well, wow. You said an hour just passes and we don't notice it.
I know, very, very quickly, when you're having fun.
Indeed. And to everybody who's watching at the moment, thank you for watching us. If you've got any questions, then please ask them, and we'll do our best to answer them. You can contact Bridgetti and I in the BLIVers group any day of the week or on the BLIVE in 5 page. And just 2 things I want to put out. One is in relation to BLIVe.tv. Now, it's for... Oh, John's complaining that we've still got 7 minutes.
Hello, John.
Hello, John. Thank you for joining us.
It's because he's late. He's late to the party, so...
It's taken him 53 minutes to find us. Right. Okay. There are 2 things I want to point out. BLIVE TV is inherently reliable when they aren't down up to it. So on BLIVE TV's behalf, there was a problem yesterday, which is now totally cured. It is a rare occurrence. If you do have problems on your own show whilst you're live, if Bridgetti and I have a problem now, there is one thing we would do. 2 things. One, we don't panic. We refresh our browsers and come back in. But the second thing we do is that we contact BLIVE TV on Messenger on their Facebook page straight away. And the other way to contact them is, if you're hosting the show, is to click the menu top left and go to Contact Us, and you can do it within seconds. It's when you're live during the show, as we said earlier, you can be sort of tied up in what you're doing. But that button is just to the left-hand side of the screen. Press it, contact us, put the details in. And BLIFbot.tv have 24/7 support. They're not just based in Israel, they're in the Ukraine, Philippines, and around the world, and can offer you 24/7 support. It's probably the best I've ever known from a team. And I'm sure Bridgetti wants to speak to that too, but just before that, and this goes out to anybody watching in the BLIFers group. If you're watching us now in the BLIFers group, we have just the one favor to ask of you. We put up every day in the BLIFers group a thread, and that thread is dated. Today it's dated Friday the 16th of March 2018, and it simply says, please post your shows in this thread. We want to know about your shows. We want to watch your shows. We want to help promote your shows. If you put them in that thread, we can find them easily. Everybody can find them. Everybody knows. Search #today and you get a list of shows for today. And it's as simple as that. If you do two things, if you post just as a post in BLIFers, then it means that myself or April or Adair have got to put it onto the thread, as you should have done, and then delete your post. And we are all volunteers in the group, and we would like your cooperation in just putting your shows in the daily thread. The other thing, sorry, Christy, is do not post a video in the BLIFers group which was not created on BLIFbot.tv. It will be deleted. Sorry, right, Bridgetti, over to you.
Those are good points. You know, it's good to do housekeeping from time to time, and remember, there's community, so you want to post things that'll be relevant to the community. If you have something great to say about someone's broadcast, praise them. If you have a problem and you need assistance, ask a question. You know, BLIFers are very, very responsive, and so is BLIF TV themselves. And as you said, Steven, message them if there's a problem. And after your broadcast, if you do get the opportunity to give a rating. And if you had issues and you give a lower rating, you can almost be sure that BLIF will contact you anyway, because they will ask you what the problem was.
Oh, yeah.
You know, can be fixed. So, you know, if you do have a problem with live streaming, whichever platform you use, it's just the nature of the beast. In the beginning, we had lots of teething problems. And like with anything that's new, any software that's new, you will have issues in the beginning. Expect that, know that. That is just how software works. But it's gotten better and better and better. And before, you know, when Steven and I started this, we had long lists of bugging issues to go through. Sometimes we couldn't cover all the bugs. Now we hardly ever have bugs. We're having to put together our own agenda. You're not, you know, you making us work harder by not giving us enough bugs.
Well, that's true. I mean, you're right. Going back the initial shows, we were here to actually answer the questions in the BLIFers group, and we're out of a job because there aren't any that haven't. You know, it's just brilliant the progress that has been since we actually started this show in stability and in people getting used to the system, and the quality of support helps as well. John, have we got permission to finish? Can we stop now? Right, John said that we had 7 minutes to go, so this has been...
I think we're on top of the hour.
I think we are. Now, that's it for today. Bridgetti, we'd like to say a few words and then we'll set off for a weekend.
RJ says, way to work yourselves out of a job. Yay! Well, anyway, Steven and I enjoy what we're doing, so we'll carry on. We're still holding up the flag for BLIFers. 1 more minute to bits and pieces. Oh my goodness. Well, you know where to find us. Every week, this time, 12 p.m. 12 p.m.
Eastern,
Eastern. Yeah, 12 p.m. Eastern every Friday. You know where to find us. Same time, same place. We talk all things Be Live. If you have anything you want us to cover, talk to, put it in the comments and we'll put it on the list for next week. We don't have a list for next week yet, so help us build a list for next week.
Yeah, you can help.
Yes, help. Build a list. Tell us everything, whether you're having fun with Be Live, if you have an issue with Be Live. And you know what?
Yeah.
Complaining. We want to also say when someone's done something well. All of us like and need forms of encouragement. So if someone's had a great broadcast, tell them that, say there was a great show. I really enjoyed that, and tell them what you enjoyed about their broadcast. Or if there was things that you learned about the live stream, tell people that. It's great to hear when you're doing something right. It's a feel-good experience. So thank you everyone for watching us. Thank you, John. Thank you, RJ. Thank you, Corinda. Thank you, Andrea. Who else joined the show? There was Marco.
Kathy.
Gail. Yes.
Kathy, Fraser.
John, Mohammed, Bill.
Mohammed, yeah. And of course, Bill Vick.
Yes, absolutely. So everyone who commented, thank you very much for commenting. Everyone who shared the broadcast, thank you for doing that. And everyone who's watching the replay, thank you for watching the replay. And if you're watching on the replay, please feel welcome to share as well. Anyway, we're off to have a great weekend. You can find me on Facebook at Cape Town Water Crisis, or just my name, Bridgetti. And Steven, and in the BLIFbot group as well. You can find me in the BLIFbot group. Steven, where can people find you?
You can find me in the BLIFbot group and on BeLive in 5 and on Udemy, where my Udemy course has just been updated. And thank you, Bill, for being the first person to actually buy the updated course. And have a great weekend, everybody.
So, absolutely. From me, Bridgetti Limbanda in Cape Town, toodles. Have a fantastic weekend.
And it's toodles from Wiltshire in England too. Take care, everybody. See you soon. I haven't heard that for years.